turn red. Hey Girl Scouts, this is our very last episode to wrap up Girl Scouts Love State Parks weekend. Thanks so much for all of you that have joined us. If you've been in some of the other episodes that we've had, you know that we just love to see, say hello to you. So say hi to us in the Q&A box if you'd like and let us know where you're from and we can try and give you a shout out. And if you have any questions throughout, go ahead and utilize that Q&A box as well. I'm Alyssa Yapel, and I am here with, I have Susie Vance, who you can see on the right side of your screen there, and she is the Assistant Chief of Parks. And I also have some very important guests with me, Mindy Banke. I'm going to send you live for a second, Mindy, to say hello. Mindy is the I'm blanking. Assistant Director over Parks and Watercraft, the Division of Parks and Watercraft. And I have Jenny Rohr with me, who is the Park Manager at Malabar State Park. And last but not least, I have Director Mary Mertz, who is the Director of ODNR. So these are going to be our panelists today. Helping me is going to be Brittany Reed. I'm going to send her live so she can tell you what the Women's Network does. She's a part of our Women's Network here at ODNR. And also, Jackie is behind the scenes. She's going to be helping us with some questions. You'll meet Jackie in just a bit. But go ahead, Brittany.
Yeah, thanks, Alyssa. So the Women's Network at DNR is a group of women who have essentially come together to provide networking, professional development opportunities for staff at ODNR. But we also have an outreach committee who focuses, that's me and Jackie, and we focus on trying to get the word out to young women and girls about all of the really awesome career options and opportunities at ODNR.
Okay, so we are going to get started with questions, and I'm going to ask each of our panelists to state their hometown and their educational background, and let us know where we can find you on a Saturday afternoon. So we're going to start it off light and easy today. I'll ask a few questions. I'm going to pass it over to Jackie to ask some, and then Brittany will be back with us. So that's going to be the format of our program today. But once again, utilize that Q&A box if you have any questions throughout. So let's have Mindy kick it off. So Mindy, your hometown and your educational background and where we will find you on a Saturday afternoon.
Very good. I am Mindy Banke, and I am actually from Piketon, Ohio. I went to Piketon High School. It's down in Southern Ohio. I went to college at Cedarville University over in Greene County, and on a Saturday afternoon, you'd find me watching football, getting outside, checking out the trails, doing different things. I love to be outside, so running, enjoying my family, you name it. So that is me.
All right. And Susie, I'm going to put you up next.
Hi, I'm Susie Vance. Like Alyssa mentioned, I'm one of our assistant chiefs of the Division of Parks and Watercraft. I grew up in a small town in Northeast Ohio called Chatham. It's in Medina County. I went to Hocking College, and I also went to The Ohio State University. And then I also really like to, as I can, I think continuing education is just so important. So I try to take classes and workshops wherever I can. So on a Saturday afternoon this summer, I am eking out the last few days of pool time. So I like to be in the pool on a Saturday afternoon, enjoying the outdoors, of course. I like to take a nice bike ride. I'm a big fan of cooking, and I've got 2 sleeping dogs here with me that I like to get out and about and take for nice long walks. So.
Okay, and Director Mertz?
Right. So I grew up in what is now known as Riverside, Ohio, and that's a little suburb right outside of Dayton. So I grew up in the Dayton area, and I went to Stebbins High School. For college, though, I headed off to Washington, D.C. So my undergraduate, I earned at a university, American University, that's in Washington. And then not long thereafter, earned my master's degree from George Washington University, which is where my youngest daughter goes to school now. After a few years, I moved back to Columbus, and there eventually I earned my law degree at Ohio State University. So lots of time in school, lots of time in college, enjoyed all of it, spent a lot of money at it, but that's okay. And on a Saturday afternoon, you might find me most likely this summer in one of our state parks. So either on a trail, exploring what's going on, or camping. I've done a lot of camping this summer. It's been a lot of fun. So you'll either find me doing that or maybe headed down to Dayton to visit my mom, who still lives there in the house that I grew up in.
Okay, and Jenny.
Yeah, so I grew up in rural Ashland, which is where I still live, and that's in between Cleveland and Columbus. I can't seem to get out of there, but that's okay. I like it. I went to school at a high school at Crestview High School, and this is probably the education in me. I brought some props along with me because I thought we'd have some maybe girls that were seniors or something, and I brought my senior picture. I don't know if you can see, is it blurry?
No, that's good.
So that was my senior picture, and then I went on to Ashland University. Like I said, I can't get out of Ashland. I got my bachelor's degree in education, and then decided to stay home with my kids while they were little. Here's my kids, the fair. They're going to have fair next year. That's why I thought it'd be good for a fair picture. So I stayed home with them, and then once they were in school, I went to, like Susie, I was a Buckeye. Went to the Ohio State University and got my master's degree in environment and natural resources. And on a Saturday afternoon, probably every Saturday morning and afternoon, because my mom always made us when we were growing up to clean the house, wash sheets, dust, mop, deep clean the house. That's where you'll find me. I can't seem to get away from it.
So we're going to start off with an easy and a fun question here, as we're going to ask two people a question. So this one's going to be for Jenny and Susie. So what do you geek out over? Now this is relating to natural resources, but what can you talk about for hours? And I'm going to just pass it right back to you, Jenny. You can go first.
So I think, probably like everybody, we're all interested in a lot of different things. But one of the things that I got into the last couple of years was ice fishing on Lake Erie. I had never done it before, and I hate the cold weather. I don't like to be cold, but it was so much fun. It's almost like a video game when you're sitting there and you look at the fish finder and you just don't want to. I was hooked. But other than that, I have really enjoyed some of these bigger picture things at Malabar with the operations of things, like, how we can make things run more smoothly. What are some of the small processes that we can fix to make the whole system function better, whether that's with maintenance or communications or empowering staff who know things, just the connectivity of processes and people. I could talk about that all day, and those consistency, efficiency operations. But as far as geeking out, that and ice fishing has been really fun.
Okay, and Susie.
So this is a good question. I have a lot of colleagues who really like herpetology, so they really like snakes and turtles, and I have to share that that is the one thing that I'm really not a fan of at all. Snakes are the thing that will make me I just prefer to not. I understand their role in the world. I'm actually a plant fanatic, and so I really like learning about different plants, what they do, how they could be used, where they grow. I really love my garden, so I like to spend a lot of time in my garden. I like growing different flowers, different vegetables, different herbs. So I am a hands in the dirt on a small scale and a larger scale. I think that's, Jenny talked about the landscape of things, and I think learning about how different plantings and vegetation in general, what different impacts it has. That's my geek out topic.
Awesome. I've never been ice fishing, by the way, Jenny. Now I'm gonna have to try it. And
well, hopefully there's ice on the lake this year. It wasn't good last year.
So, okay, next question. I just want to make sure we get them all in. So sorry if it seems I'm moving a little fast, but we have so many great questions today. So this one is for Director Mertz and Mindy. What do you enjoy most about the work that you do? It might be hard to pick, but Director Mertz, I'll send it to you first.
Sure. So, I mean, some of the most important things that we do are the actual conservation and the science, right? How are we preserving all these natural areas for the future? But maybe what I enjoy most is the part that connects people to what we're conserving, right? So I have a particular interest in all of our outreach efforts, just like this one, talking to scouts and conducting this sort of outreach, our nature centers, our visitor centers, all of our programming. So while the heart of what we do is this conservation for generations to come and managing Ohio's natural resources to keep them, I really enjoy the part where we help people learn to love it, learn to enjoy it, and teach them how to protect it going forward. So it's that people connection to almost everything we do. That's the piece that I enjoy the most, probably.
Now, Mindy, you can't copy the director's answer. That was a good one, but
that was very good, and I totally agree with the director. I mean, it's seeing the people, seeing the little kids being out there fishing for the first time and catching their fish, and just seeing the eyes of excitement and all of that kind of stuff. With working with parks, and I've got engineering and coastal management and others, and looking at the different projects that we are able to also provide to the public, the visitor centers where people can come in and get a good feel of, the different elements of the department and different surroundings that they're going to see when they go out on the trails, those type of things, the bridges along the trails that are new and innovative and really catch people's attentions, especially when you're walking in a area that has beautiful, topography and Hocking Hills is an example. It's breathtaking, and having those moments, I think, those things that capture me and capture the eyes of people really make it worthwhile. It truly does. So we are definitely blessed with some tremendous areas and people.
Mm-hmm. Now, I should have asked you guys this at the very beginning, but we just had a question come in that they asked, what are your jobs? So we went over titles, but before I hand it to Jackie to move on with questions, maybe we can go through the panel one more time, and if you guys can touch on your responsibilities in your roles, what those, really what's behind those titles. So let me start with Director Mertz.
Sure. So yeah, I'm not surprised that's a question. So as director of the department, I am a member of the governor's cabinet, and I am appointed to the position by the governor and confirmed by the Senate. And my actual job is to oversee and be responsible for pretty much every aspect of the department. At the end of the day, the buck stops here. And if something goes wrong, that's on me. When things go right, that's typically because there's been a great division chief who's done a great job with a great team behind them. So in that, you heard my background. I'm a lawyer. I've spent a lot of time in government service. So I am not myself a scientist or a natural resources expert in any particular area. But for this job, it would be hard to find someone who would be an expert in that area. So, you know, we're talking about Ohio State Parks today, and you've got everyone who's an expert in parks. So in my job, I would have appointed the chief of the division, you know, who's not on this call. Susie is the assistant chief, but, you know, and responsible for that. But in addition, you know, we have divisions of oil and gas, divisions of industrial minerals, coastal management, engineering, real estate and land management. I mean, we have 11 divisions, and it's a really wide array. When we are at absolute maximum capacity with our employees, it's around 2,500. You know, that's at the height of the summer season when we have all sorts of seasonal. So being responsible for those operations, I have a chief operating officer and a chief financial officer and operational chiefs on all of these things, and division chiefs. And so my job is to work with them to be sure that we produce the best outcome for all the people in Ohio and all the visitors we can bring in from other states. So that is my job.
Thank you. And I'll send it to Mindy now.
Yes, I am the assistant director, and my divisions are the divisions of Parks and Watercraft, the Office of Coastal Management, the Division of Engineering, and the Division of Water Resources. So basically, I work with those chiefs, as the director noted, in all those divisions to make sure that they're carrying through with their regulatory components, making sure projects are getting completed in time, in a timely manner, meeting also the state requirements. Also, you know, thinking out of the box, trying to help with, you know, coming up with ideas, the better ways that we can help our constituents that are utilizing our areas. It's very complex, very diverse, but it's very rewarding as well, because we have some tremendous people in each of those divisions that really are true stewardship focused people and you know, really want to do the best things for the people of the state of Ohio. So definitely a rewarding role.
Okay, and on to Susie.
So the assistant chief of state parks, I feel like my actual job is to know enough to be dangerous. You know, it's I know little bits and pieces of most projects that are going on in each of our 75 state parks. So knowing what kind of making sure I'm aware of the good, the bad, and everything in between. And so I kind of, my role is to try to make sure that all of our park managers, they're doing everything that they need to be doing to, you know, serve our customers and our visitors. But then also I kind of act as a little bit of an intermediary. So going in between the director's office and our chief's office, and then our actual park managers, to make sure kind of everybody's on the same page, the information is shared, making sure that our park managers have the information they need to be successful, and making sure that if they have things that they need to be successful, that I'm communicating that to the director. So again, just to know enough to be dangerous, I think is my actual job.
And last but not least, Jenny.
So I am, as Susie was talking about, one of the park managers at State Park. So I'm very much on a local level here at Malabar Farm. So I'm the park manager at Malabar Farm. So similar to what Susie was saying, you know, making sure that all of the moving pieces are, you know, functioning well for our customers when they come. if they, have a complaint, I need to be aware of it, or, making it the best experience we can for our customers, making sure that staff have the tools to do what they need to do. We have an amazing team here at Malabar. I've just been blown away by their knowledge and their willingness to help out, and especially during these times, been really supportive of the things that we've been doing here, and just have a really good group of hard workers. So just making sure that they have what they need to do, and being aware of what everybody's doing. We have the maintenance team, and we have, more of an office and tour team. So just getting everybody together, making sure everybody's on the same page, so that we can really have a good experience for customers when they come, and just, knowing what's going on, being aware, being communicated and connected here at Malabar.
Okay, and so if you can't tell, we have a lot of passionate women who really care about our natural resources and our state parks here in Ohio. I'm going to pass it over to Jackie, and as we mentioned, Jackie is with our Women's Network. So Jackie, could you just let everybody know what your role is at DNR, and then you can get into your questions?
That sounds good. So I work for the Division of Engineering. I am the executive assistant to our chief, Jeremy Wenner, and the rest of our senior staff. And I'm also a member of the Natural Resources Women's Network. So our next question will be going to Mindy, Susie, and Jenny. What is the most exciting project you are working on right now? I'll let Mindy go first.
We have a number of exciting projects. So just ask, you can look at the director's eyes and see her light up, and she can tell you. So we are working on a number of really cool things. We're looking at a new bridge project at the Mohican State Park that's going to be very innovative and exciting for the guests there. We're upgrading, we're basically reworking a former space at Shawnee State down in the Portsmouth area, and we're going to remodel that whole area and create a neat camp area with a diverse number of attractions for our guests. That's coming down the road. I mean, we've got so many really cool things happening that's extremely exciting. We go from building a new lodge at Hocking Hills. We're looking at even some of our dam projects that are really cool, that are going to provide, address safety issues, but also provide for better resources down the road. I know one of the director's dear items would be our wetland creation with our H2 Ohio projects as well. So we're working on water quality issues to address algae concerns, but also providing habitat. So we've got some fantastic things out there that's really, really exciting.
Susie?
I thought Mindy was going to take them all.
Sorry.
Okay. No, it's exciting, and all the things that we have going on. To pick one is hard, but I'm going to go with our the new trail application that we're developing. So to kind of take, I like projects. I sometimes get bogged down with day to day. You have things going on that I don't want to say it's the things that have to happen from day to day, and I think any project that takes a step back and looks forward. So moving onto a trail app. And moving from the traditional paper maps, and don't get me wrong, I love a good old-fashioned gazetteer or a map, or I love that having a map, but moving to a different platform so that we can reach more people or different audiences. That's why I chose that project, and I really like projects that are kind of along those lines of kind of introducing a little bit of technology into what is very traditionally not technologically based. So,
Jenny?
Yeah, so similar to what Mindy and Susie, we have a lot of projects going on here at Malabar. It's really hard to pick one, but we've been using this time, this very interesting time right now, to do a lot of improvements as far as maintenance, building improvements, cleaning, lots of projects that maybe don't sound glamorous, but that will, when we get people back and things moving again, it will be a better experience for customers. We've done a number of roofs. We've probably done over 10 roofs in the past year. We've been doing a lot of painting, cleaning out. We just finished our bicentennial barn, cleaning that out. We painted it, has a new roof. Also doing things that may be behind the scenes that people don't see, as far as communications or printed materials. These small fixes are part of a larger picture. And that's what Susie was talking a little bit about. I love big picture thinking, and I love to make sure, I know it's in the details, but it's also some of this, okay, what can you kind of see from a bird's eye view that's going to make things, function better as a system, as a process. So those are some of the things that we've been doing here. If I had to pick out a specific one, just because I love gardening and plants and native things, we've been pretty much any new plant that we planted has been native, Ohio native. So that's kind of one project that's close to my heart, because I love flowers and planting. So, but lots of projects.
Our next question is for Director Mertz. Tell us about your past experience as a Girl Scout troop leader. What did you gain from that experience, and how has it influenced the approach you take to your current position as the director of ODNR?
Sure. Well, actually, let me start with my experience as a Girl Scout, right? So I was a Girl Scout. My mom was my brownie leader, and I won't even tell you how long ago that was, but a long time. And, all my friends were in brownies, and we had a terrific experience. I went on to many more years of Girl Scouts myself, and had so many neat experiences. So my first backpacking trip was with my Girl Scout friends, and these ladies are still my friends, and we still joke about the time we packed only freeze-dried food and starved on our backpacking trip, and how exhausting it was. It was through Girl Scouts that I made my first trip to another country. That was the reason I got my passport, was through my experience in Girl Scouts. And I enjoyed it so much that I encouraged my daughters to participate as well. And so for my older daughter, I started out as her brownie leader. My younger daughter, she got to be a daisy, and I was the assistant daisy leader. And so that kicked off many years of either being a troop leader or an assistant leader. Both my daughters went on, at least to be, at that time they were called seniors, and might have switched over to ambassadors. And they just did a lot of fun things. They went to camp. I went to camp. I used to go to Camp Whippoorwill. They both spent a lot of time at Girl Scout camps. We would go to Kinjockety with the troop. They would go to Molly Lawman. They went to day camps. I went to day camps at Camp Green. It's just a fun way to build curiosity. And, it's okay to be curious about everything, right? And it's okay to try stuff and not be good at it. And maybe along the way you find out what you're really good at, and it might give you opportunities to do things that you wouldn't get to do otherwise. I can tell you sort of the culmination of my youngest daughter's experience with Scouts. A bunch of us went over to Scotland for 10 days. So the troop planned the entire trip, everywhere they wanted to go. We met some Girl Guides while we were over there. And I just think it's a good place to build confidence in what you're good at, and it's completely okay not to be good at stuff. And it's okay to be interested in something for a while, and then your interests change. And I think that has been my experience with Girl Scouts. It just opens doors to things you maybe never would have seen otherwise. And so it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Our next question is for Director Mertz again, and for Jenny. How do you affect the lives of Ohioans? Let's go with Jenny next.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many watching have been to Malabar Farm State Park, but just a little bit about that. It was the home of an author, Lewis Bromfield. He was a Pulitzer Prize winning author. He grew up in this Mansfield area, was somewhat of a Renaissance man, so to speak. He had was interested in politics, writings, but toward the end of his life, he devoted his time toward natural resources and conservation. So that's why we have Malabar Farm. It's about 1,000 acres. It has, the big house, the mansion that he built from an original farmhouse. We've got animals. We have 85 head of beef. We have horses. We've got sheep. We've got goats. We've got hogs. Some barn kitties. So it's been just an amazing opportunity. I've loved every minute of here being at Malabar. And what we can do for Ohioans here is provide them that experience that, we've had kids that have never seen farm animals. We have a lot of kids programmings where they come out, or camps, and they come out, and it's a way for them to just get away and see what we have to offer. But we also have recreation. We've got, it's a very peaceful setting. We've got camping. We've got a really pretty overnight cabin. It's just a cool place for people to step back in time if they want to see what a farm of that era looked like. But we're also looking towards some projects in the future that will, Bromfield was innovated for his time. So, what kind of partnerships with and the agricultural possibilities are endless. So what can we do here that show some of those innovative practices now? But my job is to make sure that things run smoothly, keeping areas clean, provide opportunities for those people coming. We want to be as accommodating as we can. Our staff here is wonderful at customer service. So what are we doing that, we're providing these recreational opportunities and educational experiences so that people want to come back. So I feel like that's, those are the things that here at Malabar we do to affect anybody that comes through the doors.
Director Mertz?
Sure. So let me divide my answer into two, but I'll try to keep it short. One, I think we especially see this summer, right? With COVID, I don't know about you all, but a lot of things I like to do, we couldn't do, right? Can go to movies and shopping and restaurants and museums and lots of travel. And so a lot of people looked around and said, well, what can we do? And being outside in our parks was the #1 answer. So I think we were there and we impacted their lives and gave people an outlet when they needed it most, when there weren't many other choices. Our job was to stay open, to stay safe, and provide those opportunities. So specifically with parks, I think we have impacted hundreds of thousands of people's lives, if not millions, this summer, giving them a place to go and be healthy, and that is just direct. And we see that in every single one of our parks every weekend this summer. We have given them that. So that impact, giving people an outlet, an opportunity, and for us it's a silver lining to remind people how great it is to be outside. On the other side of it, just very quickly, in my job, a lot of what we do is protecting natural resources that impact people's lives in ways they can't see. So our work to protect water quality, to protect our oil and gas reserves so they're there for the future, to protect our forests, to protect wildlife and biodiversity. So, to properly regulate the use of natural resources. All of that is behind the scenes and people don't see that, but it's really the engine that allows them to continue with their regular lives. So there's those indirect impacts that they don't see, but should make their lives better in the future. And then just the direct, it's the middle of June and there's 10 things you want to do and you can't do, but you can go to your state park and spend the night in your tent. So that's what we did.
Okay, and Brittany, I think we're on to your questions now.
All right, sounds good. So my next question is for Mindy and Susie. Who to you is the most inspiring woman role model or leader, and why?
All right. Well, for me, it would be my mother. My mother is one of those ladies that really stressed the work ethic in each of her kids. My brother and sister, she taught us how to work hard, believe in ourselves, and give it our best. And watching her throughout her career, she didn't have a college education, but she worked herself up to a leadership position, and just all of the other things that she could juggle, you know, coming home and making dinner and making sure the kids got to the sporting events or the arts programs or those kind of things. She always made sure that we were there, we were all taken care of. So definitely from her faith and confidence in each of us really helped us develop to where we are today. And she's definitely it.
So for me, this is the question that I can't choose one, and there are so many that I cannot choose. You know, I ranged from like Ruth Bader Ginsburg to Dolly Parton to I can't pick, and I think it's because I really find a lot of support, and I think any woman who helps, anybody who shows kindness and assistance and help, and I think any single person can be that role model. So, you know, whether it's all these ladies that are on the screen today, whether it's a random stranger that I meet, whether it's the person who checked out my groceries this morning, I think that kindness and promotion of each other, I think that's something to emulate. So that's my, I can't pick just one. I think that's some sort of advertisement, but I'm going to take that as my answer. I really think all women can be very inspiring role models in their own way.
I love that answer. All right, Director Mertz and Jenny, how would you define a mentor? And can you talk about a time when a mentor either was or would have been helpful to you? And we'll start with Director Mertz.
Sure. So there's lots of different approaches and understandings of what a mentor is. For me, I've had a couple of mentors, and you know, for me, it's been most helpful when they are people who believe in me and have confidence, even when I'm making mistakes, and help me try to shine or open doors for me. You know, a lot of places have assigned mentors, and that's the person who answers your questions, you know, shows you how to technically do things. And that is a form of mentorship, you know, going through the technical issues of how to do a job or how to fulfill a role. But for me, it's really been someone who believes in you and has confidence, and they open these doors and they say, hey, go out and explore this thing and come back and help us do great things. And for me, probably one of my earliest and best mentors was Governor DeWine. So I worked for him many years ago when he was Lieutenant Governor, ultimately serving as his Chief of Staff. And that was very much, I was a young woman at that time, and he was very much, okay, I know you can do this. This is the issue before us today. You know, go out and learn all you can and come back and let's devise solutions. And sort of at his elbow, mentored me into developing judgment and decision-making skills and the things you need to, you know, make progress. And so I very much consider him a mentor. And there have been women who have mentored me in different roles in life. But for me, it's a person who believes in you and helps you learn how to do something, as opposed to simply answering questions and very technically taking you through how to do a specific task.
Jenny?
Yeah, I think echoing director's words there, I think a mentor is somebody that that you learn from through their actions, positively. Whether they are doing that intentionally or not. Actions really do speak louder than words. So, what are they doing that is supporting you? In a way that you are still making the decision, but they are, they're talking it through with you, or they're getting you through sticky situations, and they make you question yourself as well, but doing it in a supportive way. So, to me, that's what a mentor is, and a lot of times, they have a little bit more experience than you. I can think of a few because they've just been there and been through it. Sometimes, though, I know sometimes my daughter, who's 14, checks me sometimes, and I feel like that's a little bit of a mentorship. Personally, for me, like I said, I brought some props. I do have two women that were really good mentors for me personally, and those were my grandmas. So this one here is this is my mom's mom. This is her senior picture. She was she was way ahead of her time. She was independent. She was sharp. She was witty. She was a farm wife. Come from a dairy family, but she didn't sit on the sidelines. And whenever we would go over to her house, she, through her actions, really taught us a lot of things. Competitiveness. I mean, she would play croquet with us, and she would never let us win. She would send our balls across the yard, and I like to win too. So I don't like to lose. So I feel like I got a lot of that from her. But she was just she never really told you what to do, but she was just very supportive. And then my other grandma, my dad's mom, was quite a bit different. She was fiercely independent, quiet, but very profound, hardworking, the hardest working person I've probably ever had or known. And she was known for her hats. She wore hats, different kinds of hats. This was one, she passed away. It's not the prettiest hat that she had, but it was one that I remember her wearing all the time. So she reminds me that we all wear different hats on many occasions, and she was just a very strong person. Just remember, whenever she'd come and visit us, she'd always bring Kentucky Fried Chicken. So I think of her when we have Kentucky Fried Chicken. But they were both very hardworking, God-fearing, decisive, intelligent women. But they were also selfless and humble and kind. So personally, those would be my mentors. And then professionally, I've had some really good bosses. I've been very lucky with bosses. When I worked at OSU Extension for Ashland County, they just were very, very good. And I will tell you, and I don't mean to be a brown noser, but the three women here with the director and Mindy and Susie have been, I look at them as mentors as well. Just been very supportive of the things that I've been doing here at Malabar, and I look up to them as well. So that's what my answer for mentor.
All right, and then our final question before I think Alyssa will go over the questions that have been asked by the viewers is for Mindy and Susie. What is one piece of advice you would give to a young woman looking to get into a career in the natural resources field? What do you know now that you wish you knew when you were at that stage in your life?
Well, I would say, definitely have confidence in yourself. I mean, that's the most critical thing. You have to believe in yourself in everything that you do, and that's going to help mold you to be the person that you're going to ultimately end up being. So to me, believe in yourself and go after it. Go get it.
Yeah, I would say just try to do things. Try, and that's really important. And something that's been hard for me is I like to be right, and I like to do a good job, and I hate disappointing people. So I for me, if I don't do things exactly right, I've learned that it's not so bad. This kind of goes back to the director talking in the beginning about making mistakes is okay, and that's, you know, if you do something really well, you're not going to learn as much from that as if you don't do it well. Like, how can I do it better next time? So I really wish, and I would say that definitely take the time, try things, learn from, you know, not doing things that well, and that's really one of the things that I wish I had come to know just a little sooner, but that's okay. I know now. I'm working on it now. So
okay, so that concluded our questions that we had written out ahead of time and prepared for you, and there are some awesome questions that have come in that I want to get to. We have Lauren, who's a junior from Cleveland, Ohio. Thanks for joining us, Lauren. She asked, was there any project you found more challenging than another? We do have a handful of questions, so if everybody doesn't want to answer this, panelists, that's okay. But if a couple of you could speak up on each one, that would be great. So does anybody want to take that one on? The question was, was there any project that you found more challenging than another? Okay, we can't be shy. Susie, okay.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I mean, I think sometimes projects that involve a lot of people and a like really big group that has a lot of diverse interests can be pretty challenging, just because, you know, trying to know and get to know everyone's interests to the best of your abilities, making sure that you're addressing everyone's needs. I think that those projects can be kind of challenging, because if you don't work really hard to understand where other people are coming from, you'll be less successful. So to me, I wouldn't say that those are challenging, but working with large groups takes that extra effort. So I always, you know, try to keep that in mind.
Okay, and Aisha, who's a 13-year-old senior in Girl Scouts, she also asked about challenges too. She was curious, did you ever experience challenges throughout your journey? So not specific to a project, but could somebody answer her question? Maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
So one of the things I find most challenging is communication about expectations, or communication about a project. And I find what I do that doesn't work is, so we'll plan something, and it's just, I've said what I thought was going to happen, and it gets a different result, right? So I haven't communicated what I want. And what I do is I just keep communicating the same thing over and over and over and over. And why I would expect that to get a different result is completely wrong. So when I get those challenges, what I need to do is step back and say, okay, we tried to do it this way. I need to totally reorient and try to do this a different way. So it's when you hit a block, or you hit a problem, or you hit an issue or a challenge that you're really struggling with, instead of doing the same thing again and again and again, it's take 2 steps back and think, okay, I'm not meeting the challenge in front of me appropriately. So I need to change what I'm doing rather than expecting everyone else to change what they're doing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you hope to meet somewhere in the middle, but the first step is sort of a self-recognition that, this is really hard. It's not turning out how I think. So first I need to do is look at me and say, what can I change what I'm doing to better communicate with everybody or reach a different result? So that's just one thing I would recommend everybody trying when you hit challenges.
Okay, and so we got a really great question that came in. It's an anonymous question, but a really great question. What does it mean to you to be a woman in in what can be seen as traditionally a male-dominated field. Susie, I see you nodding. Do you want to take it? Is that why you're nodding?
I'm nodding because I'm reading these questions and they're all so good. I was like reading along and like, oh, good one. Yes, that's a good one. I mean, I can certainly answer that. You know, there are times when I forget, you know, that you know, okay, this is traditionally, you know, male dominated, and I really do think that's because I can look around and see other women now in these roles, and so, you know, seeing other women or other people that you identify with is very important, and I think that you know, for me, that's really important to have other women to go to. You know, I have had and I do work with a bunch of great male colleagues too. So I don't want to slight that, and knowing that and having male colleagues that are very supportive of having me in this role, having Director Mertz in her role, having Mindy, you know, having each other, and really that focus on the work that we do, it is very important. It does, you know, I feel like every accomplishment is very good, and there are certainly reminders that women have not always held these jobs, but I mean. And I feel very honored to have this job. So in general, so I'll end with that.
No, I totally agree. I often forget as well. And we recently had a college student that was working with us, and I asked her what was the most surprising thing that she learned during her time at DNR, and she said she was shocked to see the number of women working at DNR. So it was really cool to see, but, you know, and a good reminder when we do forget. Did anybody else want to say anything on that topic, or we still have a few more questions, and we're getting close to time. So unless anybody has something to say, I'll move on. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be for Jenny. Somebody asked about the specific education required to be a park manager. So I thought you seem like the perfect person to answer that.
Well, this could be a Susie question too. I don't know. Well, I can only speak for myself, so I don't know. You know, my background. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in education and a master's degree in environment and natural resources. So I think I think that you know, this is a challenge too, because I'm not very patient. I like things to happen fast, and I want them to happen yesterday sometimes. So one of my challenges was, you know, when I want to move forward or go to a different job or wherever, I'm like, why isn't this happening for me? Why isn't it happening now? Or, you know, what is going on that, you know, what am I doing that it's not happening? But oftentimes what you find out probably as you get older, more experience, is that, you know, just because you don't get something, something better is out there for you. So that's been a lesson for me. So I think, and it has to do with a little bit of luck too. You're just at the right place at the right time. So I was at OSU Extension, as I said, for Ashland County, and my education degree got me there. That's how I got there. And then when I went back to get my degree in natural resources, I just was looking online, found a job with watercraft. It was watercraft at the time. It's not Parks and Watercraft. I didn't know anything about boats. I did not grow up boating, but I know a lot more about boats now with my time at watercraft. And I thought, you know, if I ever went over to parks, it would be Malabar, just because I have that agricultural background, and that would be the one park that I would go to if I went into parks. And it happened to come up, and I applied, and I got it. So, but I know other people, you know, when you get to, a lot of times people come up through, you know, there'll be a seasonal. So OhioDNR hires seasonals every year, and those are the people that come into parks, and they'll, you know, do the, you know, they'll be cleaning restrooms, or they'll be emptying trash cans, they'll be mowing, weed eating. We have seasonals here at Malabar as well. So I've heard of park managers coming up through the seasonal route, and then they just do a really good job and they work their way up. So I think it's probably dependent upon where you're at. Your education certainly helps, but also there's that, partnered with really hard work. You get your name out there as a hard worker, you're gonna do well. So I don't know if Susie, you got anything to add, but it's a combination of experience and education, really.
So like I said, we're almost running out of time, but I have a few more questions, so we're going to try and get through these ones quickly. I have Ella, who's a brownie, and Evie, who's a daisy, and I know I've seen your names, Ella and Evie, throughout our programs earlier today and yesterday, so thanks for joining us again. They want to know what your favorite thing is to do. So maybe your favorite thing to do in your job. So let's see. Have we heard from you lately, Mindy, or Director?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. Mine is definitely being able to see completed projects. With having the Division of Parks and Watercraft and also the Division of Engineering together, being able to see projects that we've started, see how they've progressed throughout the construction stage, and then seeing the end product. And the capability of what that end product provides to our public is tremendous. So that's extremely rewarding and exciting to me. So
since Mindy hit what she likes to do at work, I like to go sailing. So my dad taught me to sail when I was little. I've sailed ever since, and that is my absolute favorite thing to do. You get out on the water, and sailing, you have to use your own smarts, you're charting your own course. You're figuring out how to get the wind to move those sails to go where you want to go. And there's nothing like it, being out there in the middle of the lake on a gusty day and accomplishing that. So.
Awesome.
Okay, and we have Lucy, who wants to know, oh, I lost the question, sorry. What's your favorite park to work at? Does anybody want to take that one?
They're all favorites.
they all are tremendous, but I will tell you, growing up as a kid in Southern Ohio, the small parks, Iota Trail, it had, the park, it had the forest, and, we would load up our car with our bicycles, and our parents, we would ride around the road, we'd stop, we would fish, we would run up the fire tower to be able to see all the trees out there. So that one definitely has a sentimental value, but we do have some tremendous parks. Definitely blessed.
Yeah. Okay. And so we had a junior scout that wrote in and asked, how long did it take you to get used to your job? For me, I'm always learning something new at DNR, and that's part of why I love working here. So I guess in a sense, I'm still not used to it. And I don't know that I'll ever get really used to it because the days are always a little different. But does anybody else want to chime in there, or maybe?
I'm also not used to it.
Yeah.
I think that really with DNR, you do everything you do is related to the outdoors, so it's seasonal, right? So you go through a whole year, and then you've experienced that year, and you can take lessons from that past year, because the spring is different than the summer, than the fall, than the winter. So then you can take and kind of apply to the next year, and maybe you learn a little bit something new or different, or maybe a pandemic hits, who knows. So I think that I hope that I never really get used to it. I hope that I get more experienced, but I think a year is a great, when we hire new people, you kind of have that first year to kind of get used to how things roll in each location seasonally.
Alyssa, can I say something before you close up? I don't know what your conclusion is. I know you're on your last minute, right?
Yep.
All right. I just want to say one thing. All the young women and girls that are on here, I know you're curious and you want to learn, and you're smart, or you wouldn't have dialed onto this. And I have confidence that you're going to be successful in what you put your mind to. But based on one question earlier, don't forget to mentor and bring along other women with you. That is so important. It is no coincidence that since I became director, we appointed our first ever chief of the Division of Wildlife. She's in charge of all the hunting and fishing in Ohio. That's never happened before. Our first ever woman chief of the Division of Water Resources. She is in charge of dam safety across our entire state, as well as all the other things her division does. There's no mistake. Mindy Banke, assistant director. I don't know how many women assistant directors there have been. We have a strong female presence on our senior staff team. So all of you are going to be great. Don't forget to bring along and mentor women under you as well. As young as you are right now, you can always help the people who are younger or less experienced. Even people who are older and more experienced in certain areas, you can be mentors to them too. So I just want to encourage you to do that.
That is the perfect note to end on. I do want to give a shout out to Lauren, who I think she said she was from Cleveland, and she just wrote in and said thank you. And she's listened to 7 of our programs this weekend. So thank you for being a loyal listener. And I'm so happy to hear that you enjoyed it. And she said she can't wait for Girl Scouts Love State Parks weekend next year. We're excited for it too. We love being a partner with our Girl Scouts. So thanks to everyone who listened, and thank you to our panelists. I think it goes without saying, but these women are a force of nature. And if you couldn't tell from our panel today, nothing can stop them from doing a great job for the people of Ohio and our properties around the state and our state parks. So if you want to see more She's a Force of Nature episodes, we do have some on our YouTube page that I'd encourage you to check out, where we highlight female law enforcement officers and biologists. And Director Mertz mentioned water resources and dam safety. We highlighted some environmental scientists and engineers from that division. So I encourage you to check it out. Just go to YouTube and search OhioDNR, and you'll find all of our awesome videos there. So I hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks for celebrating Girl Scouts Love State Parks with us.
Thank you.